Okay, so I'm going back to 3.1 just because I needed to get 3.2 in yesterday with the full homework. So 3.1b is solving equations by adding, but it's word problems. So I wanted to make sure that we are good to go with word problems. Again, we did a little bit of this last night with the multiplying. I want to do with the adding. And so let's go ahead and go through some of these. So write the equation for each word problem, then solve it. Those are the directions. All right, I'm trying to get you guys used to NTV. How many on the word problems on your homework you had a spot where it said NTV? Let me see your hands. Okay, what about the rest of you? Where was your NTV? Okay, things I'm teaching you are for a reason. Is the NTV a big deal right now on these easy ones? Yes or no? No. But am I trying to train you so that you're used to it and you always do it so that when we get to the hard ones, you're good to go? Yes. So just start doing it now. Because here's what happens. I've been doing this for a long time. Students that don't do it now because it's easy problems, all of a sudden on a test or a quiz, they get a little bit more difficult problem. They don't do it and they don't know what to do. And they get it wrong. So again, you should be naming the variable. All right, the sum of a number and 10. So it's just the number. Again, pretty simplistic. We'll call it n. So somebody raise your hand. Tell me what you want to do with this problem. Somebody tell me what to write. All right, Kristen, go ahead. Go your keywords first so that I do my symbols. All right, go ahead. Sum is multiply. Sum is add. All right. So sum I'm going to do addition. What else? All right, let's not worry about what to add. Let's do another. Okay, so go ahead. You can sum what you want to sum. What do you want to sum? So tell me what to write. Okay. Yeah, and it can go either way because of the commutative property. All right, so she summed a number in 10. What else you want to do, Kristen? Is the equal sign. And then the number 5 is after that, right? So that's the basic equation. N plus 10 equals 5. You may have said 10 plus n equals 5, and that's okay, commutative property. Most will just stay in order, and that's fine. Okay, somebody raise your hand and tell me what to do next to solve this. Brendan? Okay, you know, I'm not really turning it into anything. I'm really not. Um, the 10 is a 10, and it's there. I'm not turning it into anything. I'm adding the opposite of it to both sides of the equal sign. So I'm not turning it into anything. There's no magic going on or anything like that. Um, because it's a positive 10, I know that to move it, I add its opposite to both sides. So just a little wording there, Brendan, but just trying to help your understanding everybody else's. Now the reason it moves is positive 10 and a negative 10 is a 0, and n plus 0 is n. The right-hand side on 3, tell me what the number is on the right-hand side. All right, everybody look. Give you a second to think. On 3, give me what the right-hand side is. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to say this again, class. Look at me. This is not an option. I expect everyone to be saying it. Now, I'm going to be clear one more time. Some of you, I'm trying to tune my ear to see if you know what you're doing. So I'm trying not to embarrass you by calling on you constantly to figure out if you know what's going on. And you're the very ones that are not answering me. And you're going to make me call on you. So it's not an option. I need you to call out the answers. All done, Aaron? You sure? All right. Hope you did well. Okay, so this is a negative 5, and that's our answer. Again, you can, if you had time, you go back and check it out. So you put negative 5 back in for the variable and solve. Let's go on to the next one. A number decreased by 6 equals 14. Again, the number, pretty simplistic. I'm going to stick with my ever popular n. All right, somebody raise your hand and tell me what you want to do with this one. Luke? Okay, so I think Luke went through and said this. Decreased was a minus sign. He said the way to decrease the number is to do n minus 6. How many agree that that's the correct order, n minus 6? It is, right? To decrease something by 6 is to always do minus 6. Luke said the equals is equal, pretty simplistic. And then, of course, a 14 is a 14. So that is our equation, n minus 6 equals 14. Somebody tell me how to solve it from here. Hannah? So I'm adding a positive 6 to both sides. By the way, let me pause a second and tell you guys again, I'm showing you the vertical method of solving this. There's also a horizontal adding to both sides. And that's fine. I know at least one of you, you're using that method. I have no problem with it. Again, though, we're keeping one equal sign, keeping a left, keeping a right. All right, the left ends up n plus 0, which is n. That's what we wanted. And the right is a no-brainer, right? 14 and 6 is 20. And again, if you stop and take a look, 20 minus 6 is indeed 14, and therefore it is the correct answer. Luke, question? Can we do what instead of showing the other work? Yeah, if you're going to do it here, I'll show you what it would look like if you did it the other way. So here was the original. The other methodology is to do this. Is to do it to both sides on the same line. Okay? It's the exact same thing, just a different methodology. Here I am, whoops, let me get my purple. Here I am adding a positive 6 to the left of the equal sign and a positive 6 to the right of the equal sign. I am adding it to the original, right? In this methodology, here it is being added to the left of the equal sign, and here it is added to the right. So again, you can see you end up in the same place. N plus 0 equals n. 14 and 6 is 20. This is how your work would look if you use the other method. Okay? Any other questions on that? Okay. 7 less than a number is 25. So again, we're going to call the number n. Again, pretty simplistic one. But I want to train you to think of naming the variable. All right, who wants to do this one? Amber, go ahead. Okay, so nobody is, or at least the last two have not caught on what I'm trying to do here. So I think she said less than is going to be a negative. And what did you want to do? What minus what? Okay, n minus 7. And then I believe she wants to say the equal sign is the is. And then she wants to put the 25 to the right of it. So is that correct, or should it be 7 minus n? Which one is it? N minus 7 or 7 minus n? How many are with Chloe, n minus 7? How many are the opposite way, 7 minus n? So we got, and we have, how many didn't raise your hand for either one? How many are lying right now? Well, let's try it again. How many are with Chloe? 7 minus n. How many are with whoever else? I just said it backwards, didn't I? How many are with Chloe? N minus 7. Raise your hand. How many are the other way? 7 minus n. Okay, so here's what's happening with you 7 minus n people. You think because the 7 is listed first that it should go in the front. And you can't do that with subtraction. Again, you have to be careful. If you have 20 pieces of candy and I say to you, what's 7 less than 20 pieces of candy? You're going to say 13. You're going to do 20 minus 13. So again, the subtract is always, the number has to go in the back. So it is n minus 7. Okay, so again, to solve this, hopefully you think you're going to add a positive 7 to both sides. That leaves us n plus 0 on the left, which is n, and the right is 32. And n equals 32. And sure enough, isn't 7 less than 32? 25? It is. So, but again, you guys just got to be careful with that less than. All right, let's look at a number 2 here. When possible, simplify first. But whenever you're simplifying, be sure that you're always dealing with quantities on the same side. You can only simplify things on the same side. Okay, so here's what I mean. First example. Don't I have 3 negatives and 2 more negatives? I do. So I can either say negative 5 plus x equals, or x minus 5 equals. Either way, I like the x minus 5. Again, you could write negative 5 plus x. Either way. But I still have the x, 3 negatives and 2 more negatives, 5 negatives. On the right, I can do the multiplication, right? Negative 2 times a 5, we all know, is a negative 10. So I've simplified things on the left and things on the right, and now I'm ready to move stuff. You're not ready to move until you're simplified. So somebody raise your hand and tell me what to do next on this one. What is next? What is next? Ashley? Okay, so we're going to add a positive 5 to both sides because Ashley's trying to move the negative 5. All right? And so, Ashley, what do you end up with on the left? And class, hopefully everybody agrees that the right is a negative 5. 10 negatives, 5 positives is 5 negatives. Okay, so look at this last example. This one's a little bit different. So remember, you can simplify stuff on the same side. So all I want you to do right now is simplify the stuff on the left. Don't do anything else. Simplify, if you can, any stuff on the right, and then just stop. We'll see if that's correct, and then we'll finish the problem. All right? So let me pause, simplify the stuff on the right. All right, who wants to tell me their left side? Give me your left side. Left side. Hayden? How many agree with Hayden? 8. Okay, good, because you saw your minus. The minus is a plus, and 5 and 3 is 8. So 8 is definitely the left-hand side. Now let's get the trickier side. What about the right-hand side? What is the right-hand side? Daniel? 5n. How many agree 5n? Ooh, nobody. It can still be right, because the majority's not always right. But you do get a little concerned when you're the only one. Somebody have something else? Something else? Colby, what do you got? N plus 4. How many think it's n plus 4? All right, and you guys would all be the correct ones. So Colby correctly assessed 3 negatives of them and 4 positives of them leaves you 1 positive of them, and you still have the plus 4. Right? I think previously we added the n and a 4. You can't add an n and a 4. Can you add an apple and 4 pears? No, you still have an apple and 4 pears. Can you add a piece of pizza and 4 pieces of glass? No, you don't want to do that. You'll ruin your pizza. All right, no, it's a piece. Right, you can't add them. So there we are, finishing it off. Hopefully now you see your variables on the right. So Christina, what do you want to do to finish it? Or did you have a question? Go ahead, ask your question. Okay, so what do you get when you add the 2 blue boxes? There's 3. These are negatives. 3 negatives and 4 positives leaves you 1 positive. 3 plus 4 is 7. How can negative 3 plus 4 be 7? Positive 3 and a positive 4 is 7. So there's no way a negative 3 and a positive 4 can be 7. Again, when one number's negative and the other is positive, these 3 negatives wipe out 3 of these positives, leaving 1 of the positives left. So that's the way you got to think. All right, for time's sake, you're going to add a negative 4 to both sides. That makes our left be a 4, and our right is n, and the answer is n equals 4. Okay. Go ahead and grab your books and open up page 89. We're going to work these together as a group. So Christina, just think about that sometimes with your answers. If you wonder, think, hey, if these were both positive, what would it be? And it can't be the same. It's got to be different. Okay. You just got to always think when one's positive and one's negative, the answer's that the smaller one always wipes out all of the bigger, and there's how many of the bigger are left. All right, we're at page 89. Brendan, what's the problem? Nah, I think we'll do them in the book. I think your book will be okay to just write in your book. I just want to get some practice in. It's Wednesday, so I'm not going to give you homework. I'll do them together. Okay, so just looking at what I had initially, don't need to do any of 7 through 10. Those are all pretty simplistic. I just gave them to you as a review initially, but we don't need to do them. All right, do you want you to do number 15? So go ahead and do number 15. I'll put it on the screen, but go ahead and do number 15. Go ahead and solve it all the way to solving it. Do you concur? Do you know what concur means?
Agree.
It means do you agree? Right? We intersect, really, which means we have the same thing. Right? So negative negative is positive, add a negative 7 to both sides, and voila, you are there. Okay, I don't think we need to do number 6 or number 16, no problem there. Let's look at a few of these word problems. Go ahead and write the equation for 19 and solve it. Write the equation for 19 and solve it. 45 less than a number is 118. 45 less than a number is 118. $45 less than a number is 118. Does your answer make sense? I hope so. So here's another one, right, where it's got to be n minus 45, right? How many had n minus 45? Because again, that's how you got to do the less than. Okay, so now to solve, add the opposite of a negative 45. So I'm going to add a positive 45 to both sides. Again, when I do that, the left-hand side is n plus 0, which is n. And hopefully you correctly said that is 163. That's the solution. 118 plus 45 is 163. Any questions on that, anybody? All right, let's see if we can find something that's maybe a little bit interesting. Nah, these are all pretty easy. Let's see, let's keep looking here. All right, how about 31? How would you say that name? Mara. All right, Mara was 12 years old 5 years ago. How old is she now? Probably, I don't want the answer, I want the equation, because that's harder. All right, that's the whole point, is to learn how to write an equation. I want the equation, not just the answer. Mara was 12 years old 5 years ago. Okay, so the equation on this should be Mara's age 5 years ago was 12. Right? And again, something that you can figure out at least can help you to figure out the equation. But as you see, when you add 5 to both sides, you sure enough get what you should expect the age to be, right? Which is 17. So 5 years ago is a minus 5. So look what we said in math. Mara's age 5 years ago, take 5 away from her age, and she was then 12, right? Mara's age 5 years ago was 12. Now we'll solve for n and we'll figure out her age now, Raph. It's really not representative of the equation. It yields the answer, but it's not really. I mean, it's not really what the word problem described. And again, what we're trying to do is give you as much practice as we can to help you to get better at taking words and putting them into what the math is. And again, an easy one, it makes it easier to do that because you know that that's going to give you the answer, but it's not technically what the thing says. Okay? All right. Let's see. Do we have time for one or two more? I think we do. Let's see. 36 any good? Oh, yeah, we need to do a few. Let's do 36. Here's one of those simplifying ones because you might see something like this on your quiz on Friday. Let's see what you can do with that. And the answer is A equals negative 130, right? 125 negatives and 5 more negatives is 130 negatives, right? Got it? Okay, one more. Any questions on that one? One more, last one. All right, 51, last one. Just a real quick practice of order of operations. How many have negative 8? Nobody has negative 8? Good. Nobody made the mistake? All right. So hopefully you then didn't make a mistake of making a mistake. Right? Order of operations, you got to do this first. 4 times 8 is 32. 6 positives and 32 negatives leaves you 26 negatives. How many had negative 26? Good. So just remember your order of operations. All right, Wednesday, so no homework. Regular tomorrow.